Tonight you just talked about Greek examples. In the book, you also talk about examples from the East and from other cultures. So this is not the only place that we find this anticipation of automata, either in myth or in actual technologies. But there does seem to be something specific about the evolution of made things in Greece that involves something you touched on briefly, which is the power of similitude. You know, that this is a moment, if you look at earlier Attic forms of statues, or if you look at Egyptian statues, there's an obvious distance between that and verisimilitude of the human body, and we really see that in art history, and it does seem to be different. So my question is I'm wondering if you could connect that to an issue that you do talk about also in your book that I think we can all sort of enjoy today, which is the uncanny valley.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
It seems like the Greeks sort of discovered the uncanny valley in objects in a way maybe that was sort of original to their artistic exploration.
Absolutely. As I was reading descriptions in Homer, in both the Iliad and the Odyssey, of people encountering very realistic animated statues, living statues, they called them. I realized that although we think of the uncanny valley as totally modern, it was invented in, I think, 1970 by Masahiro Mori, I think it is, the robotics engineer. And what's interesting is he invented it when he was looking at prosthetics, apparently, is what made him get that uncanny valley feeling, and he identified it then and extrapolated to robots. But Homer describes Odysseus and various other characters encountering hyper-realistic paintings that seem to move and have sound, almost described like movies. And they feel a very disturbed, mixed ambivalence of absolute fascination, sort of morbid fascination and awe. And it's obviously the uncanny valley. And if you think of the slide that I showed of those hyper-realistic statues, think of them, they're life-size and they're painted, and they are often in temples, and they don't have electric lights. So when you see them, they're in a dark temple, maybe outside lit by moonlight, or in the dark, or just with an oil lamp flickering. I mean, they look like they're moving and about to breathe. So the uncanny valley sensation goes all the way back to antiquity, and not probably just to Greece.
Right.
There was an example of a Chinese inventor who invented an automaton that he showed to the emperor, and it could move and dance and act like a regular person, and the emperor was amused until the automaton winked at one of his wives. And the emperor said, "Off with his head," and the inventor immediately said, wait, no, I made it. And he opened it up and showed that every organ was an exact replica of a human anatomy lesson. So the Chinese were into making really unnaturally real, hyper-real, surreal replicas as well.